Yo, what up, boo? Nah, what you getting into? Yo, whatever, yo. I'm saying, are you coming through? Nah, you're not coming through. Yeah. Yeah, whatever, bitch. One. You know what? I'll call my dogs. Hey, yeah. What up, my niggas? Nah, what's poppin'? Nah, what you getting into? What you doing tonight? So why don't you come over, yo? Fuck it. Alright, that's what's up. Alright, so I'll see you in a few, alright? One.
Hola, buenos días. Soy Nico. And today we're here to discuss some of my favorite things in the world, adult cinematography. I've been working on this project for a few weeks and I've been testing the copyright limitations on YouTube. And so far, this should go through. So if you guys like this series, definitely drop it down in the comments below and I will continue making these types of videos. They will be more spread out and filled in between will be my normal tea videos. But I wanted to make sure that we document these because I want people to look back at adult cinematography as the art form that it is compared to standard cinema we see in movie theaters. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about Take 'Em Down 1, the first of a legendary series made by the man himself, Tiger Tyson. Today we're going to be going through the acting, the chemistry between the actors, and the overall vibe of the scene, and rate the movie at the end on how it should fit in the thug horn category of adult cinematography. I hope going forward that we can view these kind of videos as a little time capsule and that people will remember these movies fondly as what they were, passion projects made by Black and brown people for Black and brown people. But without further ado, let's get started. The first scene in the movie starts with Tiger Tyson trying to call up a girl to pull through because he's bored on a Saturday night and he's trying to get into some trouble. But she says that she was busy and he said, F her, so I'm gonna call one of my homeboys.
Fuck that bitch.
Mad traffic, yo.
Alright, I was just checking to see if you had called and shit.
Yeah. The first time you answered the phone, I called again. Unless you answered the phone, the show was
Right. I'm like, fuck it, whatever, yo. So, let me just chill back at the crib and shit and see, you know?
She missing out, you know what I mean?
Fuck that bitch, yo. That's what I was saying.
Fuck I'm saying. Look, things be done. So we can get up tonight, you know what I'm saying? We can make moves our own way. Go out with it.
That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. Let me just.
So, gotta get ready to do that.
Yeah, let me go jump in the shower real quick and shit. You know what I mean? Back.
As you see in this video, he calls his homeboy Lex Lazarus, I believe, but I usually search him up as Lex from Poppy Thugs, Dog Pound USA, etc. He is one of my favorite performers from the thug horn era just because he is so fine. But in this movie, it was not a good launch for him. Nico, what do you mean? In the beginning of the scene, it was very intimate and very sensual. You could tell that they were genuinely attracted to each other because unlike a lot of tops in this era, Tiger Tyson actively identified as bisexual. So when you saw him have chemistry in a scene, he was genuinely enjoying it. The only issue is, throughout the scene, the strokes were very respectful and long and very pleasurable, but at the same time, Lex continuously made the rubber red, unfortunately. It's as though he probably hurt himself preparing or maybe mid-scene, but halfway through it started to clear up and you could tell that he was lightly in pain, but overall it was a pleasurable moment for both of them.
Yeah, yo. Just relax, yeah. The shower's nice and good for me, you know what I mean? I feel like getting all nice and dry and shit.
Smelling all good, so console.
Use that good body wash.
Unfortunately, because of that, it is not my favorite Lex scene. If you must know, look up the title Sexy Lex. It is not even a scene of him having actual, penetration and or action, but a foreplay and of him getting his peach ate like a peach cobbler. Nico! I'm sorry, I still have to censor my words around YouTube's guidelines, but overall, that is my favorite moment of Lex's adult cinematography career because it is very gentle, intimate, and powerful. So if you want a good scene with him as the highlight, definitely look that up. But now we're going to get to the next scene, and it is between Castro Supreme, Tiger Tyson, and Romeo.
Yeah, it's good. Shit. So what's good? What you got good for coming over? Who's coming over? I'm saying.
Oh, somebody. It'll be a surprise.
Surprise.
Oh, you might know.
I hope it's some. Do I know? What's his name?
Romeo.
Romeo.
Yeah, Romeo.
Nah, I don't think I never heard of it. Where this cat from?
I think from like Philly or some shit.
Word? That's what's up. So, you know, being that he gonna come to this crib, you know we have to fuck him down, yo.
Yeah.
De-virginize the place.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? Fuck it, yo. You gonna have to just take both of our dicks, right? The more the dicks, the better.
This scene is actually one of my favorites for Castro Supreme. Nico, who is Castro Supreme? I often call him Gummy Worm because in his later scenes, he was not able to fully stay presentable and ready for said film. But in this movie between him, Romeo, and Tiger Tyson, it starts off with Tiger Tyson and Castro Supreme having drinks at Tiger Tyson's new crib. But he's saying that he wants to christen it and make it de-virginized, if you will. So he invites his homeboy Romeo over to handle both him and Castro. What I enjoyed about this for Castro in particular, though the foreplay was more sensual on Tiger Tyson's and Romeo's part, Castro Supreme actively stayed interactive in this film, which is actually very rare for him if you look at his later scenes in his adult cinematography career. Within this scene, you saw that he was actively enjoying himself and letting loose, and halfway through there was a big surprise. Nico, Tiger Tyson began to top Castro Supreme while he was topping Romeo. If you did not know, Castro Supreme started off as a strict top, and because he is very attractive, very pretty in the face, no disrespect because a lot of men get upset when you call them pretty, a lot of people wanted to see him bottom. And when we look at Castro's dipping into the bottom category, this is one of his better scenes because though it was him being fully versed, it still had him enjoying it and actively engaging in topping while versing, which is rare. Most of Castro's bottoming scenes are actually him in distress and or uncomfortable and trying to reposition most of the movie.
Dude, take it. What you think? It's gotta be fans right there. Oh, what up, y'all? What's good, son?
What's going on?
Romeo, right?
Yeah.
Alright. That's what's going on. Where you from?
Have a seat.
Oh, so you want a drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hold on a shot. Yeah, get busy. So, how long you been in New York? 2 days. Like it?
Yeah, it's alright.
Alright. Well, welcome. You one of the first new friends to the pad. This shit is my new crib.
That's what's up.
You like it?
Yes.
That's what's up. Well, I'm gonna show you around later and shit, show you what everything looks like. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Ain't nobody ever been done up here, so we gotta kind of like de-virginize this place. You sound like a #1 contender. So you think you can take both of these dicks though? We got you through that.
So sorry.
So come on, let's finish this drink up and go do this, right? Let's go over here, yeah.
Saw this, and Tiger Tyson actually ended his part of the scene on Castro, and Castro kept going with Romeo to the point that it was filled with passionate thrusts. That is one of the first times I genuinely saw Castro putting in work. No offense to Castro Supreme as a performer, but he was genuinely enjoying himself in that moment, and overall it was a very hot and steamy scene. One of my favorite scenes from that movie, and still one of my favorite Castro Supreme scenes. Nico, I know there's quite a few, but trust me, go back and watch Romeo, Castro, and Tiger Tyson. It is one of his best scenes yet, but unfortunately, I do not know more of Romeo's scenes. What I can say for Romeo though is throughout this scene, he handled both of them very well. Both of them are fairly large and were lightly aggressive in this scene, but Romeo as a whole kept his composure and he actively interacted with both of them. It was a very cohesive scene where no one was left sitting there awkwardly, and overall a very good watch.
Nah, so that's why I got this hotel room. You have to stay here for the night. I'm too fucked up.
Alright, that's what's up. Stay here.
So we can crash here for the night and just wake up in the morning, go get some breakfast and shit. Smoke a blunt, you know what I mean?
Alright.
What I'm saying though, I'm fucked up, son.
Me too.
Who was that nigga you was dancing with?
Oh, that was my boy, yo.
You fucked
Yeah.
that nigga before?
Nah.
Let me find out.
Ain't bullshit.
When you gonna fuck him?
Nah, I don't think he's ready for that.
For real?
Yeah.
You get fucked, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, for real? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's up. I think we might have to experiment some friendship shit.
Alright, I think so.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what's up. See what you talking about.
The next scene is actually between Tiger Tyson and a performer called Butta. I unfortunately could not find more scenes pertaining to Butta. Perhaps he has quite a few under his belt, but they're probably buried in the archives of Thug Corn cinematography. But when we look at this scene, where I view it as his debut because that's the first time I actually saw him on film, the overall acting in the beginning was very charming. It was them laying in bed discussing what they've actually experimented with sexually, and as friends, seeing as how they're both open-minded and definitely into each other in receptive and giver positions. They decided to test out their chemistry as friends. Overall, unfortunately, I do not view this as a very good debut for Butta. Nico, when I looked at this scene, they were both very attractive, and the beginning commentary would lead you to believe that they would have some form of chemistry, seeing as how Tiger Tyson throughout this entire movie was very focused on his acting. And not only in the sexual scenes, but throughout the skit setups. If you will notice in this movie, you can tell that he's genuinely enjoying himself, and you could tell that it was a passion project, seeing as how he also helped produce it. But the overall scene between him and Butta was pretty lackluster in my personal opinion. Unfortunately, it looked like they were kind of just going with the motions, and the strokes in and of itself, it was very tender but dry at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you roasted a good piece of chicken, but when you peel it apart, what looked juicy was actually a little, you might need to put some gravy on this, if you know what I mean. Because beautiful men, but overall the vibe, it seemed off. My personal opinion, but definitely drop your opinions down below if you have seen this scene in particular.
Yo, fucking cops, son. But it's all good, fuck it. Give me that ass right here on this floor, baby. Start this round.
The highlight of this movie. Nico, it is the scene where Castro Supreme fully bottoms for Tiger Tyson, and that is the focal point of the scene. So like I said earlier, when there was a scene between Tiger Tyson, Castro Supreme, and Romeo, Castro Supreme was basically versed within that scene and lightly let Tiger Tyson top him. But this scene starts off with them interacting on the New York City rooftop. Nico, no New York sexapades, if you know what I mean. This scene started off with them interacting on top of the rooftop, and then suddenly a cop hollered, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" And they basically had to run back inside, pulling their clothes back up. And once they got inside, Tiger Tyson said, "I'm tired of waiting, I need that coochie now." Nico, when I tell you, it was a very slow and patient process. What I will say is that though this was his full bottoming debut, he definitely did a better job bottoming in the first verse scene. I feel like it was because there was a lot less pressure and he could actively swap out with Romeo. But in this scene, he had to be the focal point, and unfortunately, it did take half of the scene just to get him opened up and ready enough to actually go. Tiger Tyson in this dynamic was a bit more aggressive, seeing as how the skit was more of a play on the dominant homeboys trying to get around in secret. And as most of us know, if you grew up in the South and or the urban areas of the city, DL men are not usually the gentlest. They're usually a bit aggressive, and since that was playing on that stereotype, there was slight aggression in this scene, and Castro Supreme didn't necessarily always look comfortable in this role. Though at the end, I found the acting was still fairly charming, seeing as how they stayed in character with their skit throughout the scene and afterwards once they got out the shower, and Castro Supreme accidentally called Tiger Tyson by another man's name.
We not finished. Eddie, you know I got your tail, right?
Nigga, your name ain't Eddie? Where the fuck you get Eddie from? It's fucking Tiger Tyson. Don't make me slap the shit out of you. Don't call me another nigga's name, yeah?
It wasn't.
Don't call me another nigga's name, you heard me?
You're right.
Nico, when I tell you, if I had Tiger Tyson waving his hand in my face, even if it was for a scene and yelling at me, I personally would have probably got like a little irate. But overall, it was a very good scene. And if you do enjoy the more patient, gentle bottoming aspects of movies, I would definitely say check this one out. Out of the 3 Castro Supreme bottoming films there are, I would consider this the weakest solely for he looked wildly uncomfortable at all times, and it took a very long time for him to open up. But if you have patience and enjoy the build-up of the bottoming aspect, I would definitely recommend this one to you.
So it's good.
Buddy, man. What's up with those bitches? Man? Other bitches.
Fucking hoes. It's all about that boy pussy.
What?
Now, for the finale, it is between Castro Supreme and Boy Poussey. Nico, who is Boy Poussey? Unfortunately, I believe this is his only scene. I looked him up and I couldn't find any more information about him on the internet. If you guys know more scenes that he's in, definitely drop them down below because he's a very handsome man with a very nice bottom. Nico, he was actually starting the scene off by having a conversation with Castro Supreme, basically saying it's just as easy to turn on men as it is women. Basically sitting down to say, all you really gotta do to get it wet, just like women, is whisper in their ear, and I'm gonna show you what a real Boy Poussey can do.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. That juicy shit, man. That fat shit.
Yeah, I never had no boy pussy.
Word?
I doubt if it be fatter and juicier than a real pussy. Them hoes be tripping. I don't even gotta touch them bitches. Just blowing them bitches in. That pussy tripping.
You do the same for boy pussy too,
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm always into trying something new. You think that shit will really work?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm sure.
The actual scene, it was kind of a letdown for the sole fact that Castro Supreme, in my personal opinion, rarely brings the passion that is needed to be a top in these older style movies, for the sole purpose that he looks like he's struggling to stay ready and active for the majority of this scene. And when it pans to Boy Poussey's face, you could tell that he wasn't necessarily fully into the strokes and energy of it all as well. I will say that both of them were very attractive once again, and the beginning skit set the scene fairly well, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't necessarily go back to this scene as a main Castro Supreme staple. Perhaps as Boy Fuse's staple, seeing as how I couldn't find more films of his, but overall, I wouldn't return to it. So when we look at the final grading scale for this film, which is a start to a legendary series that I will continue to cover further in the future, I would rate it a solid 8 out of 10. For the sole fact that the skits in and of themselves were fairly well acted, fairly well written, and believably corny. It was camp. I understand calling adult cinematography camp can lean into the terrible aspect, but the actual acting, you could tell there was passion and energy behind it. A lot of acting in later films, be it mainstream, men.com, etc., are corny and the "ill girl, turn that off" or "stop." It's fairly bad. But in this sense, you could tell that it was endearing and they were genuinely enjoying themselves and that they were happy they could put their ideas on paper. So once again, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 solely for the fact that 2 of the scenes I genuinely just would not recommend. The other 3 scenes, they are gems within themselves, seeing as how Castro Supreme shined in his first verse scene, and also how Tiger Tyson and Lex had genuine chemistry when it came to foreplay and the actual intent other than the accident in the beginning. As for Tiger Tyson and Castro Supreme, I feel like that is a staple scene for Castro, seeing as how it is his first fully bottoming scene. So once again, 3 out of 5 scenes out of a full movie is not a bad ratio, especially back in this time where you had to buy a DVD and stick with it no matter what. If you have the availability to go watch this, I definitely would suggest it, seeing as how it's a perfect time capsule of adult cinematography within the thug corn era. But if you have to go and spend actual money, I can't in good faith suggest it, seeing as how 2 of the scenes were just total washes in my opinion. But overall, the vibe of the film spoke volumes. If this sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. And if you want more content like this, definitely support me on patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics, and I will see you guys next time.
And now for a brief yet sincere shout out to this week's 3rd tier subscribers, Abu Bari and Chef Chinko Fan 18. Your continued support is greatly appreciated, and thank you once again to everyone who supports the channel. And unfortunately, this week's live stream will be cancelled because it will be the day after my birthday, and I'll be back at home in Texas celebrating with my family. Thank you once again to everyone who supports the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.